All right, my friends, welcome back to the Cortex YouTube channel. For those unaware, Cortex is an AI second brain for learning, writing, research, and more, and that's what we're going to be using in this video. Now, when we're building a personal brand, I don't necessarily want you to be dependent on Cortex, so I'm going to teach you another way so that you can transfer this over into any tool that you use. So just keep that in mind. The first thing we go over, like right now, is something that you can do for almost anything that you want to do or accomplish or complete a task with AI. So what you do is you first search for a YouTube video for the task or whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. You're trying to find some kind of information that teaches you how to do something. That way you can teach AI how to do it. And for something like starting a personal brand, there is a lot to choose from, right? And there's so many different ways that we can go about this because AI is so customizable in a sense. So looking through these all look good. There's a lot of big names here, a lot of views, a lot of good stuff. That usually means that there's some good information in it, but I'm going to go with this one simply because we're titling this video title after this for the sake of catching on to the algorithm. But the reason I'm choosing this one specifically is because it has that 30-day time limit, right? It has that time frame. So what we can use it for in that case with AI is to have AI become kind of like a personal brand coach for us to help guide us closer and closer to having a profitable personal brand in 30 days. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy this link. And this specifically is something that you can really only do in Cortex at the moment. I believe there's other apps that allow you to pull information from a YouTube video, but few apps actually have all of the notes, documents, sources all in one place. So when people ask, oh, can I create my own custom workflows in Cortex? You kind of just store your prompts as a document, and then you can add them as context to a specific chat until we implement that specific feature. We do want to allow you to create your own categories and workflows inside of here so that it's faster for you. But what we're going to do is first, we're going to switch away from GPT-03 because I'm not personally a huge fan of it. I'll get a lot of flack for that, but I personally still like Claude. But what I'm going to type out here is I want AI to break down this video and use it to both teach me how to start a personal brand and act as a coach that can guide me along the way to build a personal brand in 30 days. So what we're going to do here specifically, so the first thing that I wrote is give me a 30-day action plan for building a personal brand based on this video, pasted the link, act as if you are teaching me everything I need to know about starting a personal brand down to the detail. The reason I say teaching me is we're going to take this output and we're going to feed it to another prompt so that we can turn it into this 30-day coach. And while this is generating, I do want to bring up one thing, and that is that AI specifically is good at this because it is a personal coach for you. If you watch content, it doesn't matter how much content you write, that's not necessarily tailored to you. It doesn't understand your experiences. It doesn't understand everything else. What AI can do is interview you based on those specific things, get all of those, and tailor the entire strategy from that video or book or whatever you read, because you can drag a PDF into here as well. It will tailor all of that to you specifically, which is incredible. All right, so this is pretty good. I'm not going to change anything here. It's not exactly how I want it to be, but that doesn't matter too much at the moment. We're going to use this as a way to have the AI be our coach. So what you're going to do with this is you're going to create a new document with it by clicking this button, and then you can rename this document. Just bring this out of here, paste it here. I'm going to delete all of the AI output, like the question at the beginning and the end. And then we're going to go back to chat and we're going to click on write incredible AI prompts. And the thing about this is if you want the prompt to this, to just have it for some other AI tool, I'll leave the link to it in the description. But what happens when you click this is it pre-populates it with this big system prompt that we have. And what that will do is it will turn things into a meta prompt that you can use time and time again. So I'll show you that. All right, so we're doing something pretty cool here, right? Something that you can't really get anywhere else. You're pretty much turning this into your personal coach. So what I wrote here is I want to create a prompt that is my personal brand coach that helps me execute on this 30-day action plan. And then I typed @ and then the document that we previously saved. And then I said, I want you to structure your coaching in multiple phases. One thing I like to do when creating meta prompts that guide me through a workflow is to tell it that I want phases, right? Don't give me everything at once. You have to go through specific phases in order to get there, right? Step by step. So phase 1, help me understand who my customer avatar is, help me understand what topics to write about, help me generate a list of content ideas to grow a following, generate a full content strategy for me before continuing, so that at least you have that before it starts like just executing on the 30-day action plan, right? Then phase 2, guide me through the 30-day action plan day by day. So you're going to return to the AI chat every day. And then for each day, give me my priority tasks and education for the best way to complete those. To continue on to the next day, I have to tell you exactly what I did and get feedback from you. So again, switching this, and then I'll press enter. All right, so it put out the prompt that we can use and it structured it by phases. You can read through this once you do it if you'd like. But one thing I see missing here is the actual 30-day action plan. So what I'm going to do is add this as a new document. And once we have this here, I'm going to open, or first I'm going to name this just personal brand coach prompt, delete this part, just so it's only the prompt. Make sure that's all good here. That's good. I'm going to open the 30-day action plan and I'm just going to copy and paste this at the bottom, and I'm going to type H2 for a heading and just say additional context and then paste the full action plan here. So it's a pretty big prompt, but that's how we're going to get the best results with this. So now what you do whenever you create a prompt like this, so when you have AI teach you how to do something, turn that into a prompt, have that prompt, you go back to chat, you can add it as context. So personal brand coach prompt, and you can organize all of your prompts into folders if you'd like, so that you can just add them as context here. I'm going to say this, and then I'm just going to say help me build a personal brand. So what this does first is it asks us a bunch of questions about starting a personal brand, because frankly, when you're starting a personal brand, it can't just do it all for you, right? It needs parts of your mind. It needs to tailor it to you. So this can seem overwhelming and you can answer these all at once. But one thing you can do whenever you create a prompt, you can go back in and you can just add to the instructions. So begin by asking key discovery questions. I can just say right here, ask me questions one by one, not all at once. And that will just ask me the questions in a more conversational way, so it's more structured. But what you're going to do here is you're going to fill all of this out, and then it's as simple as that afterwards. It'll spit out your content strategy, and then it will guide you day by day, and you can show back up to this chat right here to continue checking in as you're building the actual personal brand. Now, that will come in handy later. That's critical to your development. If you want to do things on your own and use AI in whatever tool you use, you can. But now I want to show you the specific powers of Cortex. But in order to build a personal brand in general, I want this to be a bit more educational. You need a target audience, a value proposition shown in your bio. You need a topic tree with 3 pillars, and those pillars are growth, authority, and authenticity. So growth topics are content that has more virality and growth potential. Your authority topics are content about your expertise. So they get less engagement, but they lead to more sales and more loyalty. And then the authenticity topics are where you show you are a human to build trust. Another bonus here is to create a free download or lead magnet so people have somewhere to go. So you have something to promote right off the bat to build authority and hopefully build an email list. And then you need a specific content schedule, or at least enough ideas to stay consistent. So we've already learned how to create the personal brand strategy itself, but I also did a previous video. The last video on this Cortex channel is actually pretty nuts. I would recommend going to watch that. It's about writing 30 tweets. It's something, I don't even know what the title of the video is. It's about writing social media content for Twitter. But now let's go through the quick and dirty way of doing this. So if you want my version of building a personal brand, because I have a lot of followers, I know how to build a personal brand. If you don't want to rely on someone else, like the one we just went over in that YouTube video, you can go to Market, and then you go to personal brand and content strategy. And once you finish that interview, what it spits out is the personal brand strategy. And you can see here, it has my transformation story, target audience, value proposition, my domain of mastery, so the primary skill or my authority skill, complementary skill, and 1 and 2, which are the authenticity and growth skills in many cases. So social media, philosophical perspective shifting, those were just mine. Then it has audience pain points and your content foundation. So what it does here is it breaks down all of the target audience's pain points and then turns those into both content inspiration sources and foundational content topics. The reason you want a foundational content topic is because those are the ones that are going to lead to the most growth. When people start a personal brand, they tend to start off like writing about all of these abstract things that they just think are good ideas. And they don't want to create the same things as everyone else. They don't want to talk about how to choose a niche or how to build a business or how to start writing or all of the beginner foundational topics of whatever it is that you do. If you're a fitness expert, you kind of need the foundation in your brand. You need the library of content that teaches even beginners where to start. So things like how to track your macros or the foundation of whatever diet model you do. You can't just assume that everyone knows what you know. So that's what this helps with. And being able to pull from specific content sources for inspiration helps a lot. It does that for every skill, which is pretty cool. Then it comes up with a recommended bio based on your story, an expanded bio if you want that for something like LinkedIn. And then it comes up with a monetization strategy. So you can either do specific services, right? If you want a client-based model, or specific products. So like an ebook, course, template bundle, workbook, or subscription membership. And then it suggests a starting point, right? And this can be your lead magnet that you use, right? Then it goes over your content strategy framework, content calendar outline, platform strategy, so on and so forth. And then the way we can use this is we can go to chat, or you can go to the last video and learn how we created a system prompt to guide us through writing tweets based on our own ideas. But if you just need a starting point, you can go to generate 50 plus content ideas or generate viral social posts. What I want to do here is generate 50 plus content ideas. And then I'm just going to say here, generate the content ideas based on the content topics from @personal brand strategy. Again, this is sticking. Then it asks specific questions about what specific parts I want to focus on there. So target audience, it always loves to clarify your target audience. Yes, use that target audience. And then 2, let's just go with philosophical perspective shifting, and then it starts to spit them out. So specific audience struggles, audience desires, attention grabbing hooks, listicle ideas, beginner advice, so on and so forth. And you can structure all of these however you'd like. But then what we can do, this may get a bit overkill here for us generating 50 plus content ideas, but we have this now, so we're going to save it as a document. We're going to name it content ideas, delete this part, delete the last part, and then we're going to go back to chat. We're going to go to create viral social posts, or you can take one of the specific topics and write a thread or Instagram carousel. And inside of this, you can have it write however many text posts or video scripts for reels, shorts, whatever it may be. And I'm just going to say, I don't want it to spit out 50. So I'm going to say 10 text posts for things like Twitter or LinkedIn from @content ideas. And then we'll send that. And now the reason I like these, I'm going to talk to you directly for this. I used to be, or I was like very recently turned off by the idea of AI doing the writing for you or AI doing too much of the idea generation for you. And then I started using it more. I've used it a lot. this past week specifically, especially with helping me research for my past newsletter. And what I realized is that it doesn't take away your ability to think or your ability to write. The first thing that very good copywriters recommend that you do is to handwrite copy. Like you're literally copying it. You're copying the copy or the text from something like a good sales script or a landing page or whatever it is, and you write it handwritten just to get used to writing like that. And one thing it reminded me of was previously I would notice that whenever I would read a book, humans are like creatures of imitation. So when I would read a book, especially a philosophy book, I would notice that my writing and speaking and texting and whatever else would start to shift to speak more in that language. So it's not that AI is going to prevent you from doing these things, especially if it's intelligent. You're reading and bouncing ideas off of this intelligent being in a very unique way that no one is doing all the same way. So you're cultivating this smarter language. You're imitating this smarter language and way of thinking that helps you do this. So when we do something like this, when we have it write the post for us, sure, if you want to post these just as they are, then go ahead. But I would recommend at least reading through them, trying to change them, trying to fill in the knowledge gaps, trying to do whatever it is that you can to make them do well under your own interests or ideas. And that will help you so much more. AI isn't taking away your ability to think or write. It's acting as training wheels to think or write from a higher level than you're already at. That's incredible. Now, I actually want to show you something specific that I did the other day because I personally like writing my own posts. I have a very high standard for the posts that I write because I want them to be deep, perspective shifting, like life changing in a sense. And most of them aren't that, but I at least strive for it. And so what I did is, where is it? My workflow prompts. I'll go over these in another video as well about how I actually use AI. So what I did is I took a few posts that I really liked. These ones were specifically from Zach Pogrob. I feel like we have a very similar writing style. For the longest time, we did pretty much the same thing on Instagram. And I just like his aspirational content style, but I don't want to copy it exactly. I want to study it, understand it like I'm reading a book so that I can train my mind to think in that way of thinking. So what I did is I first took posts that I really liked from him. I just went to his Instagram. I actually screenshotted the image, right? Like this on my computer, because then what you can do is you can just copy paste it, which is sweet. So I save it to my desktop, open it, copy paste it. And then what I did specifically with all of these is I had this in their own separate document. And then with a lot of back and forth with AI, I had it break down the posts based on like what it was. And then I went back and forth to refine it even further. And so it has or it broke down the universal structure, realized that all of them had paradox-based messaging. It had a transformation arc, universal truth presentation, abstract imagery, and then kind of exactly how to reframe things in a way that wrote like him. And then what I did from here is I did what we just did previously. I went to write incredible AI prompts and I told it to take that analysis and don't write the posts for me. I don't want them written for me. I simply want you to take ideas from my newsletters, my scripts, or my notes, or my journal entries, or whatever it was, and I want you to extract 5 distinct post concepts from them, and then we're going to break them down into those specific things: the core paradox, the big idea, key examples, transformation arc, key techniques. And what this does is it spits out just that. So I have these incredible ideas based on things that I've already written that I can then open in the side and write. So that's just another way of doing things. So now that you have a personal brand strategy, 2 ways of doing that, you know how to write social media content. You can watch the previous video on how to write what I think is better social media content than what we just did. The last thing you need, since you're generating traffic and you want to build a profitable personal brand, is to create some kind of product or service. And inside of the personal brand strategy, there's recommendations. There's the services and products that it gives you that you can sell under the niche or target audience that you're trying to target. So that's what we're going to do in the next video, is we're going to learn how to turn one of those into an irresistible offer by training AI on Alex Hormozi's offer creation principles. And then we're going to use that to actually create the digital product. And according to your own ideas and expertise, you're just going to have AI help you format it and write it in a more compelling way. And then we're going to use AI to study how the great copywriters wrote landing page copy in order to create a landing page for it so that you can host the product, put it up so much faster than you'd be able to before. That's another beautiful thing about AI, is that it can just ask you questions if you don't know how to do something. If you don't know how to write a specific part of the landing page, you just ask it, what are some ways that I can continue with this? Oh, you don't know what to put next inside of your digital product? You don't know how to structure or organize it in a way that people are going to love and enjoy? Ask AI how to do that. And in doing so, you learn as well, because you're learning by doing. Incredible. My mindset around AI is shifting every day, and get on it, right? I don't want to be the next guy that just joins the crew like, oh, if you aren't using AI, then you're going to get left behind. But I don't know. There's a lot of truth in that sentence. So do that, like the video, sign up for Cortex, try all of this stuff, links in the description for everything else. Follow us on Instagram. Lots of cool features coming soon. Mobile app, I know, is coming soon, I promise. Thank you for watching. Share it with friends, please. That's how Cortex grows. Just tell them that's your go-to AI app. Enough for me. See you in the next video.